get this phone to do a live stream in the way that I want it. I'm going to have to change it. It's definitely made my mind up to go and get myself a new camera because this is crazy at the moment. How are you anyway? I can't really see much about what's going on. Is there anybody out there? We're live. It's going according to this, and I just want to see who's out and about. I've got a lot to talk about today, funnily enough, and what I want to talk about most is, it's okay if you don't mind, I'm watching from one side to another. Right, as you can see, it's a different, I've got to do it this way because my phone is absolutely, no way is it decided to turn onto a normal angle. So everything is changed for today. But what I will say to you is it's an exciting live stream for me because what I'm trying to do is change some things about the channel and how it's working at the moment. And I've found that my normal videos aren't doing so well. There's no end to it. I did quite a deeply personal video a couple of days ago, and it's done awfully. It's done absolutely awfully for views. I did look at the analytics in it, and 87% of the people are already subscribed who watched it. And there were 13% of people who watched it who aren't subscribed. And it didn't go down very well at all. It's had under 100 views. So I've decided that I'm going to start changing things. And one of the things that I'm going to do is start a new series of videos, because at the moment it's not working well, is it? Let's be fair. And so what I wanted to do is think about the different ways in which I do videos. And you all know me for doing the kind of videos that I do, self-help and all that sort of thing. But I want to build this community. The community is important to me. And how I want it to be is that not only am I here talking about things that I think are important in regards to self-help and all that sort of stuff, and enthusiasm and optimism and all those things. I'm sure you know all them about me. But there is more to me than that. And I don't know about you, but I consider us friends. I consider that you chat to me, you post comments on my posts, and that is great. And I love all that. And as friends, we wouldn't just talk about the same one thing, would we? I know with all of my friends, I talk about a multitude of different things. And so what I wanted to do was add that to the channel. It means that it's not just going to be about self-help. I'm going to do a separate one. I put a post up the other day asking for people's ideas of what we could call it. And looking down here, the one that's leading at the moment is called The Way I See It. Now, I'm going to change it. I've decided, I woke up this morning with an idea for a name for the series, and it's going to be called Shooting the Breeze. And the reason I'm going to call it Shooting the Breeze is because I just want to make some videos for fun, if you like. But I want them to be able to be videos in which you can expect me to chat to you like I would to a friend. So I'll just walk out, I'll pick up a camera. There'll be none of the steady shots like it always is in the studio. And I want to get out there and have a bit of a laugh. And so there's lots of subjects that I've thought about talking about. I've got a little list, as you can see. And I want to talk about things like, have you ever gone out to a cafe and overheard what someone else is saying and you've had a laugh about it? Well, I want to be able to come on here and tell you what happened and talk about those subjects and things like that. I want to talk about nostalgic stuff because I'm a nostalgic kind of a guy. And there's loads of stuff that I want to tell you. And really, where this idea is coming from, before I started my YouTube account and started doing these vlogs or whatever you want to call them, I used to be on Facebook. I still am on Facebook. And what would happen through the course of my day, I would hear different things that would happen and all that sort of thing. And what I used to do was go straight on YouTube the next time as soon as I could, and I would tell the story of what happened, or I could talk about things that have crossed my mind, things that have happened during the course of the day that I want to talk about. I also introduced my friends on Facebook to people that I know in real life. Now, I'm not saying I interviewed them, because that's not what I did. What I actually did was told stories of these people that have been important in my life. It got to a stage when I was ill and I didn't know how much longer I had to go, that I wanted to thank some of the people that have had an impact on my life. And so what I started doing was going on Facebook and writing these stories and things that happened in the past, and thanking people for the things that they'd done for me. And it really became quite popular. I could put a post on like that about somebody, and I would get tons of likes and tons of comments, even though the person that was reading it on Facebook didn't actually know the person I was talking about. They proved very popular when I talked about that. I talked about stuff that was going on in life on a day-to-day basis all around us, if you know what I mean. And they proved popular as well. I did a series. I opened another group on Facebook called The Music of My Life. And because to me, music is records and things are like having a box of memories. And when you play a record, it takes me back to a certain place in time. And so I would tell the stories behind the records. And it was fun. I loved it. I loved remembering them. And people kind of liked the stories that went along it, especially if you were in my age group and were around at the time. Then some of the things that I said worked well with those. I haven't had a chance to say hello to you yet. Hi, how are you? Shove in the chat thing. I've got it on my monitor over there. So shove in the chat room who you are, so I can say hello to you. And if you've got any questions to ask me, then that's great. Now, going back to my Facebook thing, this is where this idea has come up. All of us look at YouTube and we see so many people who stick to the one thing all the time. And I've certainly been told that sticking to one thing is the way that you're going to grow your channel. But sometimes, you know, you just want to have a laugh, or you just want to tell a story about something that's happened in your life, or you just want to talk about something that you've just seen. And it may not be of interest to some people. It may not. Hello, Poshbird. How are you? I've not seen you for a while. Hope you're doing well. It's baking here. It's 82 degrees in my studio. I do not know what that is in the other format, but it's warm, very warm. I've got a handkerchief here just to mop my brow. And here I'm going to do it now. Yeah, I want to be able to talk about lots of different things. It may be about moments in time. It can be little things that I've been thinking about that could be quirky, and I want to share them with you. What you'll end up doing is, if you like them, you'll get to know me a bit better than you do now, because what you see of me on the channel is all this kind of guy who tells stories of things that will help you move on in your life. But there is more to it than that. I think as friends, we really should be chatting about different things. And what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to set out a plan for how I'm going to do this. What my plan is to just pick my camera up, go outside, and chat about whatever it is I'm thinking about. There'll be no scripting and laying out of bullet points like they all tell you to do. It's going to be whatever's happening. If it comes into my mind, then I'll pick the camera up and I will just have a chat about it. Now, this doesn't mean to say this is going to take over the channel. It's just going to be an offshoot, if you like. Each time I put a video out that's regarding this kind of stuff that I'm talking about now, I'll have a little thumbnail with a thing over the top saying that it's a shoot in the breeze video. So you will know that if you don't want to hear me waffle on about all sorts of stuff, then you can just bypass it and go back to the normal videos when they go out. And depending how it gets received by the people will depend on how much more I'll do that than I am now. But I kind of think when you're talking about building a community, that it's more than about just the one thing. You will find that some of you will have interests that match mine. Some of you will find that I'm boring as hell. But that's for everyone to find out. This isn't about building a channel, and it's not going to be about picking subjects that I think everybody's going to watch just for the views, so that I can get more views and all that sort of stuff. This is going to it's for fun. It's no more than that. And I'm kind of looking forward to it. I've had some wacky ideas, which I woke up the other morning. It must have been on my mind overnight. And as I was thinking about these things that I could perhaps talk about, I had a couple of wacky ideas, which will be quite funny if I do them. Of course, I'll talk about serious things because we live in a world of all sorts of things going on around us. And so I will be talking about those sorts of things as well. Maybe it could be that you get in touch with me via one of my posts or something like that and come up with something that may just make me go, "Whoa, never thought about that. Let's chat about that today." So I'm hoping that the shoot in the breeze videos, as I'm going to call them, are going to pick up a few of you that only watch the one video and get to know a different side of me. Because I think in order to listen to the things that I talk about on an ongoing basis and to trust what I'm saying, it's a hard one. I'm talking about trying to be as authentic as I can, about being the real me when you watch the channel. And hopefully that will come across even more so once I just start picking up a camera and walking out and just having a chat. It could be that I'll go and sit out in our local park. It could be that I might go out for the day and take you with me and show you around wherever I happen to be at the time. You possibly get to meet Debs as well, because obviously when we go out, she comes with me. So you'll find out a lot more about me and whether you actually want to see the stuff that I want to do. Your views will tell me that over time. But for now, it's going to be an occasional one. It will happen as and when. Ideally, I'd like to, at some stage, fit it into the calendar. If it's something that I enjoy and you enjoy, then I may try and fit it into the calendar. So there's a specific day of the week, pardon me, when I'll put the video out, because I can still record them any day, whatever. But if we decide to go into a calendar, it could be that we use a Saturday or a Sunday just to put these other videos out. And I hope that's kind of explained what I want to do. I just love the thought that I can share some reflections, some things that have gone on. Like I said, I did it on Facebook. I also did a blog for ages. where I talk about all sorts of different things. And I kind of look at this as the YouTube version of that. It probably more like what they call it, vlogging. That's the one. Where just people go out and talk about different bits and pieces. Hopefully I've got some good things lined up. I can't tell you some of the ideas that I've written down because they're on my phone and I can't see it, but I'll tell you what is definitely happening. I'm buying another camera. I'm buying a camera to take out with me, and I'm going to buy a camera that I can actually plug into this, and it'll be easy to use it as a webcam because the phone is driving me absolutely up the wall. I can never get it to work the way I want to do. It keeps telling me to turn it round when I want to do a video, and it's just doing my head in. So that's the kind of thing. If there's anything that you'd like me to talk about, please feel free to shove it on there. Hi, Anil, how are you? If you notice, I'm looking away from the phone because I'm watching it on there. That's very kind of you to say that. I noticed there's this, you've got a crown and a number one. It's a new thing that YouTube have just started, you know. I don't know if you're or even aware of it, that when you do a live stream, the more people talk to you on here and do all that sort of thing, the more they're going to get voted up a table. I don't understand it. I'm pretty sure that the people who are going to make the most use of it are going to be the young'uns, because they're always good at that sort of stuff. But me, I'm too old for that. I don't understand it. But I see, Neil, you've already been in the game because you're already rating at number one on there. So that's a pretty good start. So is there anything that you would like me to talk about? Let me just run through. This is a list of categories that I've already thought I could do videos about. And we got overheard and observational, which are things that I see when I'm out and about. Nostalgic and life reflections. And I think if I start getting nostalgic, people who are around my age may get what I'm talking about. Humorous and quirky, because that's a side to me you really don't know yet. Not that I'm humorous, but I am quirky. Eccentric, I think I like to use the word. Curious and philosophical. Place-based reflections. When I go somewhere, especially if I'm going back to somewhere I've been before, I can tell you a story about the place that I've been to. Moments in time. I think I do that already because I've mentioned things in videos about when I've been somewhere and it's brought back this memory and I'm talking about something from time gone by. Life's little mysteries. I've got a few written down already for that. And it will enable me to share with you stuff that will give you a better idea of who I am. And so that's what I'm planning to do. I don't know when the first video will be. I would imagine that it'll be in the next week, 2 weeks. I'm going to get a new camera first. I've been saving for this new camera for ages. What I've been doing is packing the money away that I get from YouTube to pay for it, because after all, I use it on YouTube. But I've been doing so badly on YouTube lately that my money hasn't been coming in very well at all. But I have got the amount of money I need to buy another camera that I've fancied for a while. And so I'm going to be getting that. It's one of them little tiny action cameras. And what I like about it is the thought that I will be able to go and discreetly video in different places where I can't at the moment, and certainly wouldn't be able to if I bought the camera that I was planning to buy. So I'm hoping that getting this new camera will add another dimension to the channel as well. Is there anything that you'd like to ask me about this new thing that I'm going to try? I don't think there are many people doing it, to be honest. been having a look around to see if there's anyone who talks about all sorts of stuff, but the majority of people tend to stay in their box and talk about the one thing all the time. I love the stuff that I talk about with you. I think it has value, and I think it can help people. The aim of the channel was to help my boys, after all, in the first place, and so if it does that, that's fantastic. But I think it's time to see another little side of what we can do on the channel. Some of the cameras are also magnetic. Yes, the one that I'm looking to buy is magnetic. I'm looking to get a DJI Action 5 Pro. I think that's what it's called. And you can put it up and you can click it onto things. So you can film all over the place with it. And it's a camera that I've been looking at for a little bit. I had my heart set on a Osmo Pocket 3, but I kind of think I'm a bit too heavy-handed for it and could end up breaking that one quite quickly. So the action camera will actually do pretty much what I want in a much better way. Hopefully, I'm aiming to get that sometimes next week. Neil, am I a big book reader? Let me just turn this around a moment. That's my bookshelf in here. I also have myself and my wife are both big book readers, and we have bookshelves downstairs in our living room. We have a bookshelf the same size as this in our bedroom, and I have one in here. So yeah, we do read a lot. For me, mostly, I like non-fiction. I like autobiographies. I like to see what people have done. Make a series of living in the UK daily life. Yes, I could do that. That's something that I could do. I could go shopping. Now, I have to say, if I was thinking about doing shopping videos, because I am the world's worst shopper. My wife, Debs, she will say to me, "Nip over the shop, will you, and get us a loaf of bread?" And I'll go over the shop and I'll buy sweets and I'll buy fizzy drinks and I'll buy magazines and I'll buy all sorts of things. And I'll see something that I fancy eating and I'll pick that up and put it there. And I'll spend much more than the price of the loaf of bread. But often I forget to get the loaf of bread. And so I'm not really the best shopper in the world. And I know I'm always going to I get home and walk through the door and remember what I haven't bought that I was meant to be getting. And yeah, that'll be an adventure or two. Books that I've read that have inspired me. Oh, there are so many. Somebody else asked that question in the week, actually, and I did mention it in a post. There are two books that I have read on a pretty yearly basis. One of them is called Tough Times Never Last, but Tough People Do. And I was going to show you the books, but using it on the phone, it always shows it backwards, and I hate that. So perhaps when we get the webcam app out, I'll do that. So yeah, Tough Times Never Last, Tough People Do. I bought that in the 90s when I'd lost my business. And it, James, me, shy, I am until you know me. Yeah, I bought that book back in the 90s when I'd lost my business, and I'd found that it had so much in there to help me plot my way back to where I've been. And I used it as a guidebook, to be honest. It was brilliant for that. The other book that I've read a lot is What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. I've talked about this on the channel before as well. And like many of us, in tough times, I've been known to run myself down and tell myself, oh, I'm rubbish at this and I'm not good at that and all that sort of thing. And it came to me finding this book, and I learned how to reprogram what I talked about and change the way I spoke into a more positive way. And so those two books are massive. I also like, like I said, autobiographies. I read loads of them. I love to see how people have overcome the obstacles that they have in their lives. And I may talk about that. Certainly, I know that I read a book about Leonard Nimoy, who was Spock in Star Trek. And there was a chapter in there when he was talking about being on the stage and in plays, and a particular play. And I can't remember the comment off my top of my head. If you go back about 50 videos, it's probably one of them. But I learned something from there, and I thought it was worthy of sharing, and so I did. And so they're the kinds of things that I'm thinking may be good. You've all seen that I've got loads of records over the back here. May talk about them, may talk about, God knows, no idea what it could be. It could be absolutely anything. I do like a laugh, so I do put myself in positions where people can laugh at me. I don't take myself too seriously. I take what I talk about in the videos very seriously, but I don't take me too seriously. And so there's always going to be things like, this is a photo of me getting ready for summer. I don't know if you can see it, with my handkerchief on my head, my trousers pulled up and my socks pulled up. That is your typical view of someone in England who would go to the beach in the 1960s. Well, that's me. And so, yeah, you'll find that there's lots of quirky little things that I'm known to do. I've been known to have a little dance in the streets, or certainly in the aisles when I'm doing shopping, when they have that music playing in the background. But I won't be able to film that in some shops, because if I do, it'll be music rights, so I won't be able to show them. But we'll get around it somehow. Also, of course, I come from a fairground background, and I often go over to see friends on fairgrounds, so I can give you a look around the fairground one day. I don't really know what we're going to have. It could be from one thing like that to something miles differently. So that's the things that I'm thinking about for Shooting the Breeze. Hopefully you'll enjoy it. The first ones will be probably rubbish, because I'll have to get myself into a mode for doing them that's a bit different to the one that I do when I'm doing my normal videos, because those ones I've spent time thinking about what I'm going to talk about. I've set up at one stage I used to script them. I don't anymore, but now I just leave like bullet points. But the videos that I'm planning to do won't have any of that, so you'll hear what I think when I think of it, and maybe I'll regret it. I don't know, but we'll see. Is there anything else that you'd like to know? Right, my British accent is easy to listen to. You say that. Now, I think I'm okay with that. I think I've done radio. I did radio for a long time, about 9 years, and I had this radio voice that when I put a microphone in front of my mouth, my voice changed, and I don't know how I did it, but I did. And it was really funny, because I was one of only 4 British-speaking presenters on radio in China, on the only privately owned station. And we would get like 2 or 3 million listeners to each show. And I had this vision, because I live near Cambridge, which is always full of Chinese visitors. And because I talked about the way that I do, and I talked about the things, they said to me they'd find me a little bit difficult to understand in China. Anyway, I had this feeling that how good it would be if one day I go shopping in Cambridge and a Chinese guy's in the shop and he's buying some things, and at the end of it he goes, "Thanks for that. See you again," as he walks out. And he says it in the way that I do. That would be really fun. Did I turn into Tony Blackburn, Chris? Well, I would have loved to have been as good. There are actually online some of my old shows. There's a couple of them that are still on, that I left on a thing called my not MySpace, Mix something or other. I can't remember. I'll have to, if you want to know, I'll find links to them. And the shows that I did were either oldies shows where I would play something from like the 50s through. I did a show called Missing in Action, in which I played the songs that don't tend to get played on mainstream radio anymore. So it's like the songs from yesteryear that were hits but don't get played now. I did soul shows because I was also a soul DJ and used to play in different events up and down the country. So I had 2 soul shows. I've done a few different things with radio. I wasn't one of those that do what I'm doing now, where they droned on and on and on, because I think people used to listen to my radio shows to hear the music that I was playing, not me. Yeah, it was fun. I wasn't like Tony Blackburn. I wasn't as corny as Tony Blackburn. If you're listening in another country, Tony Blackburn has been a radio DJ in this country since the 1960s. He still does a show now, and he's in his late 70s, and he's still brilliant. For me, he's one of the best DJs that we've ever had on British radio. But he could tell a really corny joke, and I can't say that I did. I used to get in and out of the songs to play more music in my shows. James Chavez, say, have a banana. Have a banana. There you go. Yes, Neil, he is still working. He's on Radio 2 on a Saturday morning, very early, doing Sounds of the 60s, and that's at 6 a.m. Sunday evening, he does a show on Radio 2 as well. And I don't know if he still does it, but he used to work for different independent radio stations around the country as well. I know he was on in Kent and that. So he's still working. He's still working quite well. Hello, Nancy. How are you? I'm glad you're looking forward to the new ones. Hello, Jonathan. Welcome along. Jonathan is one of my oldest viewers, I think, on YouTube. I know he's been around for ages, and he always comments on something in each video. And I'm really grateful, Jonathan, for your ongoing support. As for shirts, check one today. What else can I talk to you about? Yeah, so we got the new videos coming. It may take a while for me to get into a groove with them, because I'm starting from fresh. Do I drink English tea? Yes, I absolutely do. Breakfast tea. I'm a tea man. First cup in the morning is absolutely the best one. I don't drink coffee. Coffee gives me a headache, and it always has done. So coffee is off my list. I don't drink coffee. I don't drink much alcohol either. Not that that means anything. I have my moments when it's basically hot. Yorkshire tea sometimes, usually because I'm a cheap jack, I buy one of the big things that holds like 400 or 500 tea bags, and whichever the cheapest one is the one that I'll buy. So it could be Yorkshire tea, it could be Thai food, it could be PG tips, you know. But, yeah, do love a cup of tea, love all of them. Right, is there anything else you'd like me to just quickly chat about while I'm here? Hopefully, by the next time I do a live stream, I'll have my other camera and I'll be able to do it properly, because I absolutely hate these vertical videos. Oh, don't drink, but on occasion have a Budweiser Zero. They're supposed to be really nice. I like Budweiser as a drink when I drink it. And I've heard a few people say to me that the Zero one tastes as good as a real one. So I will have to try them out. I don't tend to have a lot of drink in the house. My biggest vice, I suppose, is I drink fizzy drinks, which I know are no good for you. Athletic NA beer is really good too. We don't get that over here. My favourite drink, you will either love me or hate me for this, or drop in your opinion. Really, my favourite drink is root beer. Love root beer, and I've loved it since my cousin introduced it to me when I worked in my first McDonald's store way back in the 70s, and I still love it today. But unfortunately, as most people in England know, McDonald's dropped it because I think I was the only person who liked it. Would I mind telling you what happened with my business all those years back? Yeah, I have talked about it. It's not one of those subjects that I want to cover much. But basically, the timing of what happened was the worst. It happened the week my youngest son was born. And it was my own fault. I trusted somebody that I shouldn't. And while I was away for the Christmas period looking after my new baby with my wife and that, this person basically finished my business off for me totally and left me with lots of debts and stuff that I had to clear out. So I basically lost the business totally and had to start again. It also meant that I had to lose my home and cars and all that sort of rubbish. So basically we lost pretty much everything I'd saved and earned and worked for from 1982 when I got married to 1990. And the only way that I could carry on was I was a huge record collector, had many thousands of records. And in order for us to feed our kids, I bought a market stall and went to markets around the West Country where I lived at the time, selling my record collection and trying to build a business again via that. And that got us, it kept us afloat for 8 to 10 months, I suppose. But it's one of those things, you know. At the time, it was awful. It was absolutely awful. My wife and I, for 18 months, pretty much ate beans on toast for every meal so that we could feed the children properly. And so it was a tough time. But you know what? When I look back on it, those tough times were the making of me. The stuff that I went through then, it took me 12 years from when it happened till when the penny clicked. Because I'm not the fastest kid in the block, I've got to be honest. When the penny clicked and my mental state changed, it happened the day before Christmas Eve. I've done a video about it back in the channel. I talked about it in full depth. But it, when I look back on it now, yeah, I'd rather it didn't happen. But my life wouldn't have gone the way that it's gone. And at this precise moment in my life, I'm really happy where I am. And so why would I want to change any of those steps that happened all that time ago? Let me just check over here. Hello, OJ. Hello, Deb. How are you? I hope you're okay over there, over in Canada. I see you had hailstones the other day. Hopefully it's nice and warm like it is now. Neil, yeah, had it bad, yeah. But lots of people had much worse than I did. I was very fortunate in that I had good grounding. My dad was brilliant at the time. He didn't lend me money or nothing like that. We didn't get any money given to us to bail us out. But the advice he gave me at the time to start putting everything back together to help us move on was just brilliant. And so I learned a lot. I grew up a lot. I was 30 at the time when it happened. And to be honest, it's happened again, because although we got through all that, my marriage pretty much ended in 2009. Although I didn't leave until 2010, And so when I left everything behind and came away with a van and some disco equipment and a little bit of money. But the money that I had, I paid all the bills for my wife and my two boys. My boys were 19 and 24 at the time, so they wasn't kids. And so I had to start again when I moved here. And so it's happened twice. But the thing you learn about losing everything, and I think this is a good thing for people to know, is that when you lose everything and you go through the rubbish and you keep going and you keep going and you make the mistakes you do to start off again, you learn how to overcome. And then when my marriage broke down and I left and started again, I didn't feel any dread of the fact that I had nothing again, because I knew I'd already done this circle once and I was able, and I had the knowledge to know how to get out of it. And so where money and where business and all that sort of stuff is concerned, the only thing I can say is that it's tough. You have to pull your horns in. You have to learn about what money you spend on what's needed, and then you can move on from there. And I'd rather go through that again than go through the health issues when they took my kidney away because of the kidney cancer. That was the hardest. That was 10 times harder than the money one. But at the end of the day, all of those things. Thank you, Neil. Nice of you to drop in. I will see you another time. Thanks for coming. Good to speak to you. And so what I think is that getting your head in gear is the most important thing. Once you can straighten that out, the problems that we get in life, we can overcome. There's no doubt about that. We can overcome them. I've had problems, but I expect there's a lot of people had a lot worse than me. I'm nobody special. And I think I might have said this on a video that you will see on Tuesday, I think. I did a video yesterday that will go out on Tuesday. And I talked about it, that I talk about all this stuff and people might think I know what I'm talking about. I think this guy's either boring as hell or he knows some stuff. But what I do know is that I'm nobody special. I know that I'm no better than anybody else. And whatever I can do and whatever I can achieve, you can achieve it too. Because I know I'm nobody special. It's as simple as that. I like to think that I've picked up enough experiences along the way to have a bit of wisdom. And they reckon you get wisdom from the experiences you have. And you get the experience by making all the mistakes along the way. So you've got to make loads of rubbish decisions in your life and lots of mistakes to learn the lessons, to get the experience, to become wisdom, to get some wisdom. That's about it. Hi, Tricia. How are you? Is it your birthday? Happy birthday to you. It's my birthday soon. I don't even know what the date is. The date is the 12th. So I've got 17 days to go till mine. I'm at the end of the month. And last year, I did a video on my birthday on a beach in Norfolk that Prince William and Kate and their children went on and did a video about 4 days later last year. So I was in amongst royalty, just a little bit early. How do you deal with disappointment, for example, from a lack of appreciation for others and after helping them out? People are people, dealer. I'm going to tell you this straight. People are people. My dad used to say to me that people like to see you move on in life, but not in front of them. And what that actually can mean is that the people that are closest to you are the ones who will disappoint you the most. And so, Nancy, your birthday was on the 6th. Happy birthday to you. Great month, July, for birthdays. At least the weather's good, isn't it? Disappointment hits everybody lots of times. I've been disappointed. I was disappointed the other day when I put the video out that I put my heart and soul into and told a deeply personal story on it, and only 97 people bothered to look at it. So, yeah, I get disappointed too. However, my way around it is something that I've learned over the years, and I have talked about it before, and it's this. If I'm in a bad mood, if I wake up miserable, grumpy, angry, or anything at all like that, I will look at my watch and say it's 10 o'clock in the morning, and I will go, give it your worst. You've got till 2:30, and at 2:30 this is over with, and we're going to get moving on. And for those few hours, I let my inner self talk the loaded most crap at me about how rubbish I am at this and how rubbish I am at that and how people are horrible and this is that and that's bad. And then at 2:30 I go, that's it. You've had your moaning. Right, let's move on again. And I've learned that for me, that really works. I don't try to fight against when I'm angry and when I'm upset. I don't see any point of that because it just dwells. So what I kind of do is let it all out, let the rubbish out. Let me tell myself all the crap what I feel about the situation that I'm in. But then at a certain time, that's it, it's done. And I'm very fortunate in that I'm able to go, that's it, boom, let's move on. And I think that's come of having so much rubbish happening in my life and knowing that if you don't find a way of getting rid of it, it will eat you. It will eat you to bits. And that's how I deal with it, Dealer. I hope that's been of help from you. Let me tell you something about appreciation from others after helping them out. Most people, and this is including me, and probably including you, most people, their most favorite subject in this world are themselves. And I know this because I could talk about myself all day long if I wanted to. And once you've satisfied their need, it's no longer important to them. Now, I'm not saying this and saying that people are just horrible. I just think that what happens, yeah, I'll happily give Lee Thomas a shout. How are you, Lee? I hope you're having a good day. It's pretty sunny here, so I hope it is where you are. Yeah, people are more interested in themselves, to be honest, at the beginning. And I think you have to have some of these things happen in your life for you to appreciate the good ones. Because, my God, there are some good people out there. We hear, if you listen to the news and you watch the news on the telly and you read your local paper and you read the national papers, you will think the world's gone to hell in a handcart. My feeling on that is that it probably is on its way, but in amongst that, there are some really nice people out there. Not everybody is going to take you down and not appreciate the things that you've done for them. I know for a fact that there have been people, much like yourself, I expect, who have had people use and abuse them, by which I mean, as long as you're helping them and doing for them, they like you, and the minute you stop, they don't. There are always going to be people there. And I've got to be honest, I'm not sure that I can't say I haven't done it myself. I think you've got to be able to look deeply at yourself sometimes and ask yourself, are you living up to the standards that you expect other people to? Because I've got to be honest, there have been times when I've let myself down badly. And I think that's something for all of us. I'm glad to see you're back, Chris. I know you haven't been so well lately, and I'm hoping this bit of weather's making you feel good. Get yourself back down that coast, have a bit of sea air, that'll help you. Those that leap to help you are sometimes the one you least expected. That is really true. That is really true. Do you know what? When I lost my businesses, the people I expected the most to be there for me weren't. But people that I hadn't even really regarded as good friends that shoved their head above the parapet and went, "Can I help?" There was some real good people out there, and you learn a lot. One thing I've found is that when you're going through tough times, you learn a lot. And at the end of the day, you just got to make yourself as happy as you can be. If people take advantage of you, just be thankful that you're good enough to help someone, because that's way better than getting upset over it and letting it eat away at you. Because I know I've done it. I'm terrible for it. I've had to learn these things. It only comes with age. I wish that when I was 20 and thought I knew it all, I know as much as I do now, because I would have approached my life in a much different way than I did. But in saying that, had I done that, I could have took a different route, which would have changed my life from what it is now. It could have been totally different. I could have been wealthy. I could have been a good businessman. I could have been this, that, and the other, but I could also have been unhappy. Whereas at this stage in my life, I'm quite contented with my life. And so would I change all of the crap that we have along the way? No, not really. Don't think so. Because I've got to a point in my life now where I'm contented with what's going on around me. I'm happy with my life. I'm happy with Debs as a wife. We have a great relationship. We laugh every day about something or other. And so I don't think, that it's a bad thing if people take you on. What you've got to do, and I've tried this, I've tried to do this since I was a kid because of my mum. In relate business, how did you go with the coach today? I did go, right, dealer, I'll change the subject again and go back to what you've said. I did go back to work. I went and got a job because I needed the money. So I'm not frightened of working for someone. I've had various jobs. I've done lorry driving. I've done car valeting. I've worked in factories. I've worked in shops, but never for very long, because I don't think that I'm made for employment with somebody else. I come from a long line of self-employed people, and so I've always pretty much wanted to be self-employed. I've done jobs. I'm going to tell you this just to tell you another little side of me that I haven't shared before on here. I was working for a company, and I'd worked there for 6 weeks when they asked me if I'd like to become a trainer of the staff, because in the 6 weeks that I'd been there, I'd learned how to do something so well. So I became a trainer for this firm. And as I worked for this firm, and it was a national company in the UK, I got given little bits of more responsibility, but without the money and without the job title. And so it was nice to be able to do it. It was an accomplishment, and I felt that I was better in myself, even though I didn't get paid for it, and even though I didn't get a promotion. But one morning I came into work about 7:30, and the shift manager had been picking into me a little bit for about 6 weeks. And there's that time when you've just had enough of it. Well, this particular day, I walked in and he had something to say to me. So I looked at him and said, "Have you got a bit of paper and a pen?" So he went, "Yeah." So he gave me a piece of paper and a pen. I walked to the table and I wrote this on him, and I handed it to him and said, "That's my notice. You've got 2 weeks. If you come within 10 foot of me for the rest of the time I'm working here, I'm going to splatter you all over this factory." So I have had my hot-headed moments. And by the way, he didn't. He left me alone totally, so it was all right. But I'm not very good working for other people. I'm very independent, and that came from being sent away to boarding school as a kid, and so I learned to be independent quickly, and when I was young. And so, no, I've never been cut out for a 9-to-5 job. I'm not very good at it. I'm not the kind of person that likes to be told what to do. When I handed in my notice at that job, I went home and told my wife I'd just quit. And I can remember the sheer horror on her face. And she went, well, what are you going to do now? And I went and bought some buckets, some car wash equipment, and went in and started car valeting back in the 1990s. And started a little business up driving around. Well, I tell a lie. I didn't start a business up. I knew some people who were doing it. And I started driving around industrial estates and offering to wash cars while they were at work. And that's how I moved on from there. And then I moved on to other things again. And it's kind of how I've been all my life. And so, yeah, I kind of think on my feet sometimes. Sometimes I mess up royally. And I'm sure most of us do. I am, as I said, no better than anyone else. You can look at me and sometimes you can go, oh, this boy knows what he's talking about. And then other times you think he's a complete idiot. But I am me. And you will probably find that out when we start doing these other videos. What do you mean by second story man? Gaming TV? I'm not quite sure what that means. Anyway, we've been here for an hour. That's gone quickly. My mum used to say to me, you could talk the hind legs off of a donkey. I'm proving it today. Talky, 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 happy talk. Is there anything else that you want to know before I call this little session to a close? As I said, I've got a video done for Tuesday. I've got an idea in my head for the one for next Thursday. I'm going to take a little, what's the word for it? I'm going to take my eyes off the ball a bit because I've spent so long recently doing what all good YouTubers do and looking at your analytics and trying to work out how to improve everything. And everything that I've tried to do improving has made my videos 10 times worse. My views are down. They're pretty awful at the minute. Subscribers, I get more leaving than coming. I go up 1 and lose 2 and all that sort of thing. And that can get you down. And so I'm going to try and take my eyes off of that and start enjoying YouTube again for the fun that it can be. And I need to break away from doing my normal videos, which I think for the most part are serious. My videos are quite serious. I cover topics that I hope will help people get some more value in their life to help them along, make their lives a little bit better. And it's serious stuff. So there's more to me than the serious stuff. And I'd just like to, you know, chat about some other stuff. Good. I'm glad you're feeling better, Chris. That's good to hear. Advice for running a business, dealer. Find something that you love. Find something that you love to do. Because if you don't, your job and your business becomes like a prison. I've pretty much lived my life when I've started businesses doing something that I fancied doing. I've never gone into something and looked at it. Believe it or not, I don't think about money much. It's never been my biggest thing. Enjoying my life has always been far more important to me. And so my one advice, it means if you are looking to start a business, Start one where you're prepared to work every hour God sends and not earn any money for a while. Because you to start a business and run it successfully, you need 5 years, and you can spend a lot of time, and I've done it myself many a time, working for hour after hour after hour. And if you put your wage into how much an hour I'm getting, I've worked for myself at times when I've been working on less than 10 pence an hour. So you really, if you want to be successful in your business, love what you're doing, be open minded to learning loads, and never think you know it all, because none of us do. And in saying that, good luck if you go for it, whatever you do. Anything else? What else have we got here? It means a burglar who enters a house through the upstairs window. Now, I've not got one of those stories, and I'm certainly not one of those kind of people. I've, in my life, if thieving ever to come into my mind, which it didn't, I would be more frightened of my dad finding out I'd stolen anything than anything the police could do to me, if I'm really honest. I come from a family where there was always money, cash, laid on the side from when I was a little boy right the way. And I'm terrible for it now. I still do it. If I've got any money, I'll chuck it on the side. And I do prefer money than credit cards and all that sort of stuff. I don't believe in paying for everything by card. I do it online because you have to, but I certainly don't do it in shops. Has proved really well like recently, because the times I've been in a shop where their system has gone down and you can't use your card, it's great to be able to use money and pay for it and carry on your day. Money's always been much better than cards. People say I'm old-fashioned, but I don't think I am in that respect. Deb, I know you guys do exactly what you want, and it's great to watch, although you wear me out somewhat. Deb and OJ, Mrs. Coffee Walks and whatever, have got a channel, and she was one of the first people to give me advice when I was thinking about starting this. And they bought a house that I said to them, please don't buy it, it's a wreck. And they bought it, and in a year turned it round into a lovely little home. And the land around it they've worked on, and they never stop working on it, and it's lovely. And all I know is that if I bought a house in the state that they bought theirs, I'll be sleeping in a tent. I'll never have got any of the jobs done. Yeah, Coffee Walks and whatever, they've done a fantastic job on their place, and I've been watching them for as long as I've been doing YouTube, so that's a couple of years now, I suppose. I think that's about it. Anything else that anyone wants to know or ask about the new thing that I'm going to be doing before I go? Because if not, I'm going to love you and leave you, because I'm sitting in this office. I have a big fan on there, and it is doing absolutely nothing. So I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, whatever you're doing. Have a good weekend, won't you? I will be back on Tuesday with the video that I recorded the other day. And on Monday, I'll be recording a video to go out on Thursday. And we'll sort of get on and do. Do you know what I mean? I will see you soon. I've enjoyed this immensely. It's always good talking to you guys. And it's great when you start chatting back to me, because otherwise I just look like a lonely old man talking on myself. I will see you all later. See you again. Ta-da.